All right, we are ready.
Very good. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Procurement Technical Assistance Center's outreach, or Ptac. And we welcome you to this outreach today. My name is Chuck Spence. I'm the director of Ptac. And we'd like to welcome our clients in and perhaps other businesses who may be joining us. And if you'll beg me a couple of minutes, I'll just give a quick summary of the Ptac program for those of you who may not have heard of it and who might benefit from it. So Ptac, the Procurement Technical Assistance Center, is a business development program within the Governor's Office of Economic Development. And I guess I should announce that we are about to change our name come, I think, May 4th. Come May 4th, we're going to be called the Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity. But for the time being, I guess we're Economic Development. And what Ptac does is we work at no cost with the businesses in Utah who want to pursue government contracting. So picture, if you will, if you have a product or a service that you think would be appropriate for, at whatever level. It could be at Hill Air Force Base or somewhere in the Department of Defense. Maybe it's with BLM or the Bureau of Reclamation. And of course, today we're focusing on county and university level. So if you have a service or product that you think the University of Utah or Salt Lake County might be interested in, as you hear about these opportunities today, you might want to call your regional manager and say, hey, I'm interested in what Jason or Randy or Terry mentioned, and how do I learn about their programs and their opportunities? And maybe it's going to be put out on what they call JAGR or what's called UP3, Utah Public Procurement Program, or SideQuest. You'll probably hear some of those names today. And we'll help you with the solicitation, we'll help you with the proposal and help you get it submitted, and really with all things government contracting. So that's our program. We offer it at no cost to you. We would encourage you to go to our website to learn more about the program and to learn more about who is your regional manager. We're a statewide program, so we have offices from Logan all the way down to St. George. So if you go to business.utah.gov/Ptac, and let me repeat that, business.utah.gov/Ptac, you can find out who your regional manager is for where your business is located. So today we're changing things up a little bit. Rather than focusing on Hill Air Force Base or federal agencies, we're going to go to a level of government that is oftentimes overlooked, but which has opportunities for Utah businesses. And today we are very, very fortunate to have with us representatives from Salt Lake County Purchasing, as well as the University of Utah Purchasing. We're going to start off first today with Salt Lake County. And today we have Jason Yoakum. And Jason is let me get my notes out here. Jason is the Division Director of Salt Lake County Contracts and Procurement. He has held this position since 2012. Prior to directing the Contracts and Procurement Division, Jason served as the Chief Deputy County Clerk for 8 years, overseeing elections in Salt Lake County and marriage and passport services. So we are most fortunate to have Jason as the Division Director, and he is going to talk about how to do business with Salt Lake County and some of the services and products that you might be interested in are such things as solid waste management, public works, parks and recreation, flood control, animal control, arts and culture, venue management, library services, human and aging adult services, just to name a few, and perhaps Jason will mention some more. So Jason, the floor is yours. We welcome you to this. Let me ask you first, for those clients and businesses who might have questions about your presentation, do you want to take questions at the end, or do you want to field them as they come up? What's your preference?
I think the end might be easier for me if that works for everybody. I can certainly have some discussion time at the end.
Super, we can do that. And our support staff assistant, Joshua Wiggins. Joshua, if you'll hold those questions till the end, and then you can perhaps feed them into Jason, okay? All right, Jason, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Chuck. Good morning to everybody, and thank you to Chuck and to Ptac, Joshua, Terry, and Randy as well. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm still getting. I mean, it's been a year, but I'm still getting used to these Zoom meetings, and we have WebEx at the county and all these different platforms. So hopefully we can get through this all right. I'll just start. I've got a little slideshow that I will share here with you. I should move through that relatively quickly, and then happy to have a little discussion and take people's questions. So let's see here. Okay, so just wanted to get in briefly, talk about why we do what we do. So, whoops, excuse me. Our mission in contracts procurement, as is probably similar to many government procurement agencies, is to provide professional, efficient purchasing or procurement services and promote fair and open competition to attain the best value for the county. So the fair and open competition part is where everybody gets an opportunity to do business with the county. And that's what we are there as kind of the referees of the game, to make sure that there is a fair and open process for which folks can work with the county. As Chuck mentioned, there's the county is a regional government with a variety of different agencies, some of which are listed here and some he mentioned, that provide a variety of services to the county. The county stretches, as many of you probably know, Salt Lake County, kind of from the point of the mountain all the way up past Capitol and east and west up into the canyons. It's the largest county in the state, and like I said, we're a regional government, handling things like parks and recreation, Center for the Arts, so the arts venues scattered throughout the county. We have a robust internal IT department. We do construction, solid waste management, so we run the landfill. We provide aging services for aging adults and a variety of other human services as well, public works, animal services, flood control and engineering, libraries, that's just to name a few things. Just a little bit about some of our stats and what we've done over this last year. It's been an odd year as we went through the pandemic. We had to cut budgets and shifted a lot of our purchasing, our normal purchasing and procurement, over to the emergency and handling that. So we were a little bit low on some of our formal advertised solicitations for business, but certainly we made up for that in the types of contracts we processed. That number there, 1,300 contracts, is quite high for us, since we were administering a lot of the CARES Act pass-through funding and grants that were made to businesses and community partners throughout the county that qualified for assistance. And so we had a lot of contracts we processed there. One thing to note here is we had over $14 million. That's a little bit low for us again, because we had a slower year, but on P-card purchases, and those are small cost transactions, and I'll get into that a little bit more later. But there's about 38,000 transactions from over 630 P-cards are issued throughout our organization in Salt Lake County, where individuals in the county are authorized to make small cost purchases, and I'll get into what those limits are and how you might, if your items or services you sell are within that limit, how to possibly get some action there. This is probably the most important slide of our presentation. I'll certainly send this presentation out, and Chuck or Joshua is welcome to spread it to anybody who wants to see it. Our website, Salt Lake County, has tools and resources available to vendors and suppliers. You can link to our current bids, as Chuck mentioned, U3P or UP3. I always forget. Terry, you have to help me with that one, which one we call it. But the Utah Public Procurement Place is where we list all of our public advertised procurements and we thank the state for making that available. But then we also on this site, you can see that there's a link where you can add your name to or add your business to a list of potential small cost vendors. And by small cost, there's a couple of different thresholds there. One, let's say they're $50,000. So under $50,000, our agencies are just required to get up to 3 quotes, and they can contact whoever they need to for the quotes. So over $50,000, we would do a formally advertised procurement, an invitation for bids or request for bids or proposals, and so forth. And I'll keep getting into this small cost purchasing as we go. I'm sure there might be some more questions around that. There's a vendor guide there that goes over a lot of this information I'm sharing with you today. A supplier management form is available. That's to get the business in our financial system so that we can make payment to the business once we make a PO or do a contract with them. And we also offer information about a Payment Plus program, which is the ability to basically receive for the business to receive a quick payment via not necessarily a credit card, but it's like a credit account, and makes for quick turnaround on invoices. So the various procurement methods in Salt Lake County, these probably aren't that different than others, but there's all these little nuances, I'm sure, with different government entities. So for Salt Lake County, we have tied our small cost limit, or small cost purchasing limit, to the federal acquisition regulations, which puts their micro purchasing limit at $10,000. We've made some adjustments to that to say that over $5,000, between $5,000 and $10,000, agencies need to get quotes, and they would just keep those quotes on file. But up to $10,000 or up to $5,000, an agency, a county agency, can go make a purchase from any vendor they want to make it from. And again, they get quotes over $5,000, and then from $10,000 to $50,000. There's still quotes, but those quotes over $10,000 would run through our office to verify and make sure they are apples to apples comparisons and so forth. But this is key, I think, for the businesses associated with Ptac, is that you make, $10,000 is a relatively high small purchasing limit, and that means that there's a lot of things that aren't going to be advertised. And so vendors, may want to be able to, or may need to contact or try to sell your items or your services to county agencies directly to try to discuss the goods or services you offer. And that's totally fine. They may not always want to take sales calls. I don't blame them for that. But again, we have that page on our website, that form on our website where you can sign up, and that's a resource for if an agency is not sure where to find a business that supplies XYZ, they can take a look at that list and see if they can find an agency or a vendor to get a quote from. Other county procurement methods. We in Salt Lake County utilize the state cooperative contracts. I'm sure you've heard of these. There's a very robust contracting system that the state puts out, makes available to all government entities within the state of Utah. And so we certainly do a lot of purchasing off of those state cooperative contracts where the states procured the contracts and we're able to just go purchase off those contracts. Again, I mentioned the request for quotes, which is an informal process, not exceeding $50,000. Then once you hit $50,000, that's the magic formal advertising limit where we would do an advertised invitation or request for bids or request for bids with resulting contract. And that would be, can be above $10,000 in some cases, depending upon the type of item or service we're looking for. But those will be advertised in U3P. Expedited RFPs, we have full committee RFPs. An expedited RFP is a more informal request for proposal process, but it is advertised in U3P, and definitely full committee RFPs over $50,000 for more complex services are also advertised. We also do a lot of construction, and the formal bid limits that for Salt Lake County, so the state has a bit of a different bid limit, I believe, for theirs, but the counties is tied to a section of code dealing with cities and counties, municipal governments. And our formal bid limits are right now it's at $58,400 for building improvements and $175 for public works projects and roads. The bidding system we've talked about, mentioned a little bit, U3P. And there's a lot of information on our website as well as the state's website about how to get into and register with U3P. And we certainly rely on that. So I'm sure that there'll be others talking more about the state's bidding system if you're not familiar with it, but there's a lot of information on their website and our website. And you just go in, register. I think it's quite simple. It's been a long time since I've tested it. When they were first initiating the new system, we set ourselves up as vendors to see how it worked, and you'd select commodity codes that best represent your business. So that was wow. That probably felt like 5 minutes. I had such a quick presentation. That's all there is to it. But I'm sure that there might be lots of different questions, and happy to take those. I'll stop sharing here and get back to the conversation.
Joshua, do we have any questions from the group yet?
Not yet. So if anybody has any questions, please enter them in the chat and we'll get
While we're waiting for that, Jason, I'll ask you a question. You mentioned that the county agencies have authority to make purchases within those thresholds. Before the pandemic, and certainly after, as we're coming hopefully to an end where we'll kind of get back to some degree of normalcy, does Salt Lake County and these either as a whole or divisions, do they ever hold vendor days or invite the businesses to come in to meet these purchasing people?
We've done a few of those, not many, maybe once a year we've done something like that. We had one, the time flies, like I mentioned earlier, Chuck. It seems like it was just a couple of years ago, but it might have been longer. But we have had some of those, and certainly this last year's made that difficult. So we welcome opportunities like this to get information out to vendors and about how to do business with the county, and appreciate your organization and what you do. But yes, we are open to that and have organized this in the past.
Thank you.
All right, we've got a few questions now.
Yeah, I'm seeing some of these, Joshua. I don't know if you're just reading from the same chat that I'm looking at.
Yeah, if you want to just take those, sure.
Sure. There's please share again the links. If I could just send you the slideshow, if that would be easier for you to put out to the folks, or
yeah, what we'll do maybe as early as in the next day or two, to everyone who's on this Zoom, we will email out those slides, because we have your email address. Of course, we had to get the Zoom link out to you, but we'll get all the presentations both from Salt Lake County and the university to you in the next couple of days.
Got another one here. Is there a central contact for managing audio video in our conference rooms? So that's, I'll have to, two different people, two different organizations. So our IT division helps with those types of things, but also our facilities division that handles management of all of our facilities and any improvements or within those facilities. I'll have to find the contact from the facilities division, but that's where you would want to get in touch with selling any audio video items. I think we do a lot of purchasing there off of state contracts, but I'm not certain. I think that we've also done some small purchasing from other smaller businesses as needed for different audio video conferencing. And I can see that that's probably shifting a lot with this last year to not so much in our conference rooms, but probably more individually to people's home computers and laptops where I'm presenting to you today from. Similar to that, who do we talk to about micro purchases? You can talk to me, but I think you're going to be better off trying to get a hold of or figuring out what it is you're selling and what division or agency within the county might need that item or that service, and get in touch with those agencies directly as they can make those micro purchases themselves. And we've backed ourselves out of that. We don't micromanage the micro purchasing in Salt Lake County, to put it that way, I guess. So those agencies can do that directly, and you're welcome to get in touch with them, or we can try to help. If you send me an email, I can forward it on to those agencies that if you have trouble finding contacts for various agencies within the county that may make a purchase of something you do. We have, as we mentioned, we have such a variety of things in Salt Lake County we do. It's hard to know that there's no one place that to kind of put those. Does Ptac system pick up announcements from U3P and state cooperative contracts? That's probably Chuck's question.
Yes, we do.
Please explain more about the state cooperative contracts. Are these typically multi-year contracts?
Jason, could I interject? While we do pick those up, we do encourage clients, just to make sure that nothing's missed, to work with your Ptac regional manager, and they will help you get through the registration process on U3P or Jaeger or SideQuest.
I don't know if Terry will be talking more about state cooperative contracts, but yes, these are typically multi-year contracts. I think 5 years typically is the pretty standard term. I'm seeing her nod.
Yes, they are standard 5-year and sometimes even longer, depending on the type of service.
Great. Emails are not a poor way to market product lines. So feel free to email. We'll try to shoot those out. Again, I mean, county agencies are a little hit and miss. Sometimes they're shopping, sometimes they're not. They may not want to be bothered with sales calls until they know they need something. But yeah, we encourage you to go ahead and email or call or try to set up any kind of contact you can.
So why don't you give out your email address if that's okay?
Oh boy, now I'm going to get all of them. Okay. Now, it's jyocom, YOCOM @slco.org. And that's on our website as well. When I really encourage folks to go take a look at our website, which is just slco.org/contracts. Pretty simple. From there, you'll see links to supplier resources and all of our bids and things that I mentioned, and a lot of other stuff.
Jason, being the division director, and he can get those to his staff who are probably specialists in certain areas.
Right. Is there a central contact for leadership development and training contracting? That would be our HR division. Mary Van Buren, I do know that person's name. And you can probably do a search of her in our human resources division, handles leadership development. Again, some agencies handle that themselves, but she is more of a central central point for the county as a whole. I didn't skip any here because I think I just moved my cursor really fast to the bottom here. So let's see if I, okay. How a small company can become a sole source really depends on what you're selling and why it's a sole source. I didn't get into that in my presentation, but similar to other government entities, there are qualifying ways to be a sole source. It's rare that you're the absolutely only source that does something. There's a lot of different businesses out there, obviously, but if there's, say the county's already got a lot of money invested in a particular product and they need to expand that particular product and to transition to another product would be cost prohibitive. That's a reason to stay with this particular vendor as a sole source. What are some of our other reasons? Escaping me right now, but all those come to me to review if there's a and those arguments or those justifications are made by the county agencies, but certainly you know your competitors well, you know what your product offers that others don't, and those can help bolster those arguments for justifying a sole source, depending upon, again, whatever item or service you're providing. Upgrades to building automation systems in your buildings, that would be our facilities division. Rory Payne is our division director over facilities. That's P-A-Y-N-E, Rory Payne. He would be the contact there. If suppliers or vendors are signed up for U3P, are they able to be notified of targeted projects for contracts above $50,000, or is the only option to be notified of all solicitations on U3P? I think the way U3P works is it'll notify you of solicitations that match the codes that you selected when you first registered. So what, the certain commodity areas or category codes, what types of things do you do? You would sign up for those codes and you would get notification of all of those. And for Salt Lake County, it's typically things over $50,000 are what are posted. Occasionally we will do like an invitation or request for bids for sometimes items under 50, but it's all based on the codes you select. And then the next one I think I've given you my email address. And the next one looks like it's for Randy. Our procurements for the University of Utah purchasing handled through U3P also. The University of Utah purchasing website directs vendors to BidSync, which was our former, Salt Lake County's formerly used BidSync, and we have switched over to U3P. So that's a good question for the U.
So Terry will cover that, or I can too.
Yes, I'll cover it in my presentation.
Yeah.
Seeing, there's one last question jumped in. If you register with BidSync and SideQuest, do you receive all procurement and bids from Salt Lake City, Salt Lake County, and the University of Utah? I'm not sure if you can select regionally. I think you do get, I know that on our site, it lists all procurements being advertised within the state of Utah. And then for Salt Lake County, we encourage you, if you want to just look at what's available in the county, we title all of our procurements beginning with SLCO. So that would be a way to search just those that are put out by Salt Lake County. But I know that when we link to the state site and it lists everything from any entity in the state that's posting on U3P from the state of Utah to their divisions, to cities, it lists all of them. But Terry can certainly talk more to that, I'm sure. I think I've taken up all the time. There's not going to be enough time left for Randy and Terry. I'm gonna move on now, and I want to thank everybody, and we'll get that extra information out to you through Ptac.
Jason, thank you very, very much. A very good presentation with very good information. And again, folks, we'll get those slides out to you. You now have Jason's email, so you can reach out to him and he'll either answer your questions directly or get you to the right person who does. So again, to Jason and to Salt Lake County, a big hearty thank you from Ptac. Thanks, Jason.
Been my pleasure.
Next,
thank you.
You betcha. Next, we have the University of Utah, my alma mater. And we have two representatives from the University of Utah Division of Purchasing. It's my pleasure to introduce them. First is Terry O'Toole. Terry has over 15 years of public procurement experience and is currently the Associate Director of Purchasing at the University of Utah, where she leads a team of buyers. And she has previously served as an Assistant Director at the State of Utah Purchasing Division. Her career includes purchasing management in the private sector, medical device industry, and supply chain management at a large food corporation. Terry has a degree in computer science from Tampa College and a bachelor's of science from the University of Utah. Terry, where is Tampa College located?
In Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida, of course. Okay, I guess I should have put two and two together there. Yeah, Tampa Bay, right. And also we have Randy Ruff, and Randy is not only a colleague, but a dear friend. She and I had the privilege of serving together in leadership on with the Utah Supplier Development Council. Gosh, Randy, we're going to age ourselves. That was like 10 years ago. Randy was the chairperson of the board for USDC, and I served as president and had the privilege of serving closely with Randy for 4 years and longer in that respect. So Randy has been with the University of Utah for 21 years and has worked in the purchasing department for 17 of those years as the small business liaison and manager. In her career as the small business liaison for the university, she has also served in several leadership roles with the Utah Supplier Development Council, which was a small business outreach organization, as I mentioned. She has also served as the chairperson for the National Institute of Governmental Purchasing National Forum, which was held here in Salt Lake City in 2017. Randy has also received several awards from the local and national Small Business Administration for outreach efforts and received the Staff Excellence Award from the university in 2014. So we have the privilege of hearing from Randy and Terry today about how to do business with the University of Utah. And we'll turn the time over to whoever is going first.
Would you like me to go first, Randy?
Yeah.
Sure, thanks.
Can we share?
Yes, thank you, Chuck, for that introduction. We're pleased to be here today. We certainly support small business, especially in light of the impact of COVID on business, and we recognize the struggles lately, and we're looking forward to a recovery here soon. We've got a lot of great projects going on campus. The performing arts is replacing their flooring. We were getting a new public safety building, and some of you may have noticed that the stadium is under construction with the south end zone. We're going to have a restaurant and club. So we're really excited and looking forward to brighter things to come. So thank you all for having me. It looks like we've got our presentation ready here.
Terry, is that showing right, or what do I need to do?
It is showing right. If you don't mind, I'll just share my screen so I can forward it, if that's okay.
Better. Okay.
If you'll just, you just have to give permission for me to share.
Let's see. This is where we run into.
Thank you.
Okay.
So first, I wanted to talk a little bit about how to do business with the University of Utah. As you know, we follow Utah Procurement Code as well as our university policies and rules, which can make the process somewhat difficult sometimes. But we currently have a small purchase threshold of $5,000. That means that departments can make a direct award to vendors for purchases under $5,000. There are conversations being had right now regarding raising that small purchase threshold at the university to $10,000. And I think that's going to happen, but as of yet, it has not been, our policy hasn't been updated quite yet, but we're looking forward to that. And that really helps small business in that departments have more ability to make best value decisions on who they award to. We do what we call an informal process or a request for quotes for purchases over $5,000 and up to $50,000. That process involves the department issuing a requisition to our department, the purchasing department. It's then assigned to a buyer who would get a minimum of at least 3 quotes. That process is handled through email. Over 50,000, we do a formal process in which we either do a request for proposal or invitation for bid. And we do that in Periscope S2G. That's the new name for BidSync. So we don't use U3P anymore. We use Periscope. And I'll give you some more information on that in a moment. But in a nutshell, I just wanted to make it clear that departments on campus make buying decisions, and our buyers and purchasing for any transaction over $5,000 assist the department in carrying out a compliant purchase. So again, Periscope S2G, it doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, formerly BidSync. The registration is free. We do all of our RFPs and bids over 50,000 on this e-procurement site. I would just mention that not only do we in purchasing on campus, but also planning and design, and which is construction, and University of Utah Health, which is the hospital, also uses Periscope S2G. I've provided a link here, and we can share this presentation with you, but be sure to click on, there's a link in Periscope that says S2G Limited, try for free. Make sure you click on that link because they do have other services whereby they charge. But when doing business with the University of Utah, our suppliers may access it for free. The way that Periscope works, you can choose commodity codes, but they changed something about a year ago whereby they ask you to choose keywords. And that's very important because that sort of narrows down the amount of notification that you get. So you'll want to choose keywords that pertain to your products or services so that you're not getting a lot of notifications that you're not interested in. So I think I went too far. So the University of Utah also uses State of Utah contracts. So I wanted to, it's called the Utah Public Procurement Place Portal, or they call it U3P for short. This is the link to register with this SciQuest app. And I highly recommend that you do that. The State of Utah does 5-year contracts and sometimes even more, depending on the products or services. But we do utilize a lot of statewide contracts, so we think that's a good route for you as well. I wanted to talk a moment about the types of contracts that we do at the university and the difference between the contracts that we do. So a department contract would be specific to a department's need, and we get a lot of these requests. And generally it's, let's say the School of Business needs some sort of software that pertains to just the School of Business. So we would help them with that solicitation, make the award, and that would be a department contract that only School of Business would use. We also have been expanding the use of U-wide contracts. A U-wide contract is a university-wide contract whereby we analyze data to see what kind of purchases we're making across campus with multiple departments. And we'll put a team together of various departments for the evaluation committee. And and that would result in a U-wide contract in which anybody on campus could use that contract, including PDC, which is construction, as well as hospital. And so I'll talk a little bit more about that, and I might just go out and show you our site where we have the contract directory that shows some of the university-wide contracts we have, because we do it a little bit different than the state in that we refresh our UIDs. And so if you see a university-wide contract out there for the products and services that you offer and think maybe it's too late, that you have to wait until the end of that contract term, that's not always the case. We reserve the right to refresh those, and we look at those annually to see if that's the option we want to take. So we have 9 buyers at the university and 2 associate directors. And we have a P-card team as well as a UShop team. UShop is the name that we've given our Jagger e-procurement system. And that's the system where our departments submit recs to us. And we also have where we house our contracts. Here is the link to our purchasing website where you can find the buyers listed with the commodities that they offer. So as far as opportunities coming up, again, please register with Periscope. That's where we do all of our transactions over 50,000, and oftentimes those result in contracts. So you could potentially win a contract over a 5-year period. And then again, U3P with the state for opportunities, and that gives you a broader opportunity with counties and public procurement. I did want to make mention of a solicitation that we're going to be releasing probably in the next week or so, and it is for promotional good products. And that will be an RFP and will result in a U-wide and a multiple award. So you can look forward to seeing that soon. I wanted to just share with you our website. I hope you can see this quickly and just show you some of the features we have. If you're going to be on campus, of course, we have some COVID instructions for suppliers on campus providing services or deliveries. I wanted to show you the contract directory. This is where our departments find our U-wide contracts. As you can see, we have audio-visual, we have catering services, consulting, face coverings, of course, is a new one, some facilities and maintenance, furniture.
Terry,
pardon me?
They're seeing the PowerPoint presentation, they're not seeing the website.
They're not seeing the website? Hmm. Okay, let me fix that, just one moment. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Ah, perfect, thank you. So let me go back. So here's our website. Here is a link to our supplier notice. So we have certain instructions if you're going to be on campus. Here's the contract directory for the UIDs I mentioned. If you click on this, you'll see the different categories of contracts that we have now. Catering, for instance, if you click on that, you'll see the different catering contracts that we have available to campus. Furniture, facilities, marketing, research and development. We have, as you know, a lot of science-related contracts, IT, transportation, and audiovisual. And we are continuously expanding our UIDs. So I think it's a good idea to check this out and see if there's anything that might be of interest to you. This contact us, again, this is the link to all of our buyers and the commodity areas that they handle in case you have questions. There's a buying and payment guide that sort of covers the same thing that I just covered about purchase thresholds. Supplier information, there's several links for you that might be useful. The staff and how to do business. This is kind of a summary of what I've just covered. Payment inquiries. So what I would encourage you to go out to our website and And again, if you have any questions, my information is listed here, Terry O'Toole. You can just click on that and send me an email or call me. I'm happy to assist. Does anyone have any questions before we move on to Randy?
So can you read those, or Joshua, do you want to read those for Terry?
It says, if you register with BidSync and SciQuest, will you receive all procurement and bids from Salt Lake City and University of Utah? Is that an old one? I don't know where the cutoff was for the questions that Jason answered. So if you register with BidSync, or Periscope as it is now called, you will be sent, it depends on what regions you choose. You can choose the state of Utah. You could choose it, and they have it broken down by regions as well. Or you could go nationwide as well. And I don't know, Jason, if you want to answer that question on as far as U3P, or if you already have.
But hi, Terry. I'm not sure which one you were looking at, but the
okay, that's okay. If they could, I think we've covered that one. And this says, I was a low bidder on a contract for trip hazard removal with the University of Utah and have never heard back from anyone in regards to moving forward. Who would I get in contact with? Now would be a great time to be doing this work. I think you may be referring to the sidewalk sort of shaving services. I recall that we did do one with that. The gentleman who managed that solicitation is Hamer Reiser. So if you'll go out to our contact list and look for Hamer and give him a call, I know that he did award contracts for that. Are procurements for University of Utah purchasing handled through U3P also? No, we don't use U3P. We only use Periscope, S2G, which was formerly called BidSync. I would just mention that you can still get to Periscope if you enter bidsync.com. The University of Utah purchasing website directs vendors and suppliers to BidSync. That's correct. I think I might be going over some of the same questions. It looks like that's all the questions we have. So with that, Randy?
Terry, will you run the PowerPoint just so we...
Sure, absolutely. You added slides, so I need to go get your presentation just a moment.
Oh, sorry. It was the one I had up there, yeah, okay. So good morning, everyone. It's nice to have this opportunity to visit with everyone that reports or has contact with Ptac. I've been involved with the small business program since 2004. And it's been really hard the last couple of years, and especially this last year, to not have the contact or being able to you know, work in the office and just the way we were doing business before. But I am very optimistic that this year we can get back to some of the things that we used to do. So anyway, one of the first things that I wanted to talk about is the history of the small business program at the U. We had, it started in 1981, and it was established due to federal compliance and the federal law, the small business program of any contract, federal contract that we had at the time. And that still continues. And I have approximately 6 federal contracts that have the small business requirements connected with it. Terry, can you get that, or?
Yeah, just one moment. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. And so those are the contracts that by law I have to do a small business program. follow that. But other than that, it's really important for the University of Utah that we have opportunities for the small business community. And as Terry talked a little bit before, anything that's under $5,000, the departments purchase on their own. And we do a lot. I don't have the numbers, but we do a lot of business with small companies, 5,000 and under. And a lot of those are on purchasing cards. And so the transaction can go pretty fast. The departments are responsible for making their own purchase, like I said. And so it's a little bit more difficult, I think, especially now. But as we get ramped up and have the students get back on campus, there will be more employees back up on campus. And so I think it will be easier for the small business community to contact the departments to see what opportunities there are there. I'd be glad, and I've included my email at the end of this, so you can certainly contact me. Terry, will you do the next slide, please? So these are some of the resources when I'm looking for small companies, small businesses to meet my goals as far as the federal requirements. I use Ptac, Small Business Administration, Chamber of Commerce, sam.gov. So please make sure that you're registered on sam.gov. I look at that all the time also. Next slide, please. So one more, there we go. So we have in the last couple of years, it's been a couple of years, I think it was either 2018 or 19, we held an in-person trade show on campus, and we do it in the Union Ballroom, if anybody's familiar with the U, and it's a lot of fun. And what I do when I hold that in-person trade show, I will contact Chuck, and he feeds me full of really good companies that we can invite and have you participate in that. It's definitely worth your time when we can do that again. And so when we've done the in-person trade shows, what I do is I invite anyone who has purchasing authority as far as if they have a P card, purchasing card on campus. And so that's a lot of employees that can purchase, and especially under 5,000 that attend that trade show. So it gives you an opportunity to meet a lot of people. And so I would be glad to start a list, and if you want to contact me, of companies that would like to attend or be an exhibitor at that show in spring of 2022. I'd really like to say if we could do it in the fall, but I don't think we're going to be back on campus as much. Hopefully we'll be back on campus in spring of 2022. I do also know the Utah chapter of National Institute of Government Procurement, anyway, they also hold an annual trade show, and I'd be glad to share some of that information when I get some more information about that. I don't know if they're going to hold it this year, but that's something that they like to do on an annual basis also. And I know there's other opportunities throughout the community for outreach. Next slide, Terry. But this is my contact information, and please contact me, and I'd be glad to talk more about it in the small business program or put you on a list for future opportunities or future trade shows on campus. So if anybody has any questions at this point, please let us know.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Randy. We've got some questions starting with Steve Jones. He asks, are there any state university-wide purchasing programs?
Terry?
Say that again.
Yeah.
Are there any statewide, like state university-wide purchasing programs?
We do a cooperative amongst all universities occasionally, but not as much as we should. As we've been talking about that, and if there's any more new information, I'll certainly reach out to you. It's very limited right now to certain auditing services and some other, very few, but we should be doing more, and I agree. So if that progresses anymore, I'll certainly let you know.
Excellent. And then Patricia of Intellivex asks, if you are already registered with BidSync, do you need to register with Periscope again?
No.
Yeah.
Folks, I'll try to fill in for Joshua. We have the Lieutenant Governor probably visiting with him right now as she walks down the hall, as I see. So
I apologize. Yes, I'm back on.
Okay. I've got a question for both Randy and Terry. You mentioned Periscope. Did the U move from UP3 to Periscope, or have you always just stuck with Periscope and before that BidSync?
We were with BidSync for 10 years when the state had the contract. I believe it was 10 years. And then we decided to go with the state procurement, the SciQuest product for a year. And so we continued with our account with BidSync during that year. And then after a year, we decided it works better at the University of Utah to be with Periscope or BidSync.
Okay.
So we've stayed with them. We're probably 4 or 5 years back with them again. So.
Do you find Periscope, I'm just curious, having not spent a lot of time with SciQuest recently, is BidSync a little bit more user-friendly for the vendors?
I don't know. I mean, I think I'm hoping, they can maneuver and get through that. The good thing is the thing that I want to, and Terry mentioned this too, is to make sure that you won't have to, if you want to respond to any bid for the University of Utah, you do not have to pay. So I just want to make sure that that's clear out there. And I do know there were a couple of agencies that kind of did the same thing that we did. They either went with SciQuest and then went back to BidSync. I haven't looked lately, but it seems like there's quite a few agencies in the state of Utah that is still using BidSync or Periscope. So.
Well, I think that answers Dave Coop's question. John Pacheco asks, with so many departments at the University of Utah, how do we make our product known to all departments?
That's a good question. And I think that it's why there's so many departments on campus, and it is difficult from a vendor standpoint. And so that's why Randy does the vendor shows, because I think that's a helpful and useful way. They're very well attended by departments on campus, and it gives vendors a chance to market their services and products. And also in IGP, it's very helpful in a broader sense to market your product and get your name out there and make sure that departments are familiar with your companies.
So the agencies that belong to NIG, the local chapter of the NIGP, are us, pretty much everybody that I can think of. Salt Lake City, Salt Lake County, I believe, Jason.
Yes, we're definitely.
Okay. School districts, higher ed, state of Utah. So that is also a good place. So that's, if they open that up again to have a trade show, we'll certainly advertise that, and they will advertise that. So.
And we have one more question about, are either of you aware of the status with the new University of Utah Public Safety Building? Updates about planning, construction phases, or expected completion dates?
Oh, you can send me a request via email and I can get you the information. I'm trying to remember the exact date. We are starting to order furniture. So I think I think that's late fall, if I recall. But we've got several projects going on, so I don't recall the exact dates right now, but send me an email and I'd be happy to pass that information along.
Perfect. Just reading through the chat here for any further questions.
While we're waiting, Randy and Terry, does the University of Utah purchasing, do you also handle the university hospital, or do they have their own purchasing program?
Terry, do you want to answer that?
Sure. The university hospital, U of U Health, they have their own purchasing staff. They have their own director, supply chain manager, and we do collaborate on solicitations though. The promotional item solicitation that I just mentioned will be a university-wide, and so they're participating on that. And then what we call PDC, planning and construction, planning, design, and construction, they also have a small purchasing staff, and we assist them with some facilities type solicitations and purchases, but they do their construction bids. They have their own purchasing agents for construction.
Thanks, Terry.
All those are also listed under the University of Utah on BidSync and Periscope. So
our purchasing group is basically campus, departments, education, but we also have clinics, because their clinics are involved with the School of Medicine. We purchase some medical supplies as well.
You know, is the university, university hospital, do they use Periscope, or do they have another system?
Yeah, that's what we're saying. The university campus, hospital, and also construction division are all under, I'm the administrative person for BidSync for all of those, the 3 different units, but we all post bids on BidSync.
BidSync, okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Joshua, do we have any other questions from our participants?
I think they've each been answered.
Very good. Okay, Randy and Terry, anything else that you want to add? Again, we'll get these slides from both Jason and you folks out to our clients here very, very soon. Any concluding remarks before we end?
Just thank you for having us. It's been a tough year, and we look forward to a brighter future. It looks like things are turning around. I know for myself, I've had 1 of 2 of my vaccine shots just recently. So looking forward to things getting back to normal, and we definitely support the Ptac community. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, and I'm going to put you on the spot here, both all 3 of you actually. Crossing my fingers, come October, I think it's October 21st, Ptac is planning on our annual symposium, and this is our big event of the year. This year, we hope to have it at Davis Conference Center. At least that's who we have contracted with. We will most likely have a number of vendors like we typically do. And we'd like to now invite Salt Lake County and the University of Utah to be exhibitors at that event. It'll be in person, obviously. I think by October, anyone who needs or wants a shot will have an opportunity to have it, and we should be back to normal, knock on wood. So we'd like to invite you to join us for that symposium, and we'd love to have you there as vendors.
We'll be there, Chuck.
Super, thanks, Randy. Thanks, Terry. Jason, this has been just been an outstanding outreach as we've talked about local government and university purchasing. Thank you for your time, for your efforts. To our participants, we will get the slides out to you here just shortly, probably within a day, maybe 2. Also, go to our website. We have a number of events coming up. We have webinars that we hold almost weekly. We have two more big outreaches coming up, one with the State of Utah Division of Facilities and Construction Management, and then another one with MIDA and Woodbury in April. So look for details on our website on those. We'll also get some flyers, marketing and information out to you regarding that. So with that said, again, thank you to the University of Utah, to Salt Lake County, and we wish you all to have a great day. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.